Hello, everybody. Happy New Year to everybody out there. It's Monday, the 3rd of January. And interesting, today, the market is starting to roar back to life, which is really great. We've got some really good news about Tesla. Tesla moved up very, very nicely today. And, so we're getting ready. Hopefully, the numbers apparently for the deliveries on the Model 3s were just out of the park, and it looks like we're going to see some more interesting stuff, I'm hoping, with Tesla. Again, if you were watching on Friday and Thursday, you know that I moved into the position, and hopefully this is going to work. So that's the way it's looking right now. So I'm pretty excited, obviously, about about this move. I also did some buying today, which is kind of amazing. I bought oil stock, OAS, which is very interesting. I'm going to show you this in a second. And I also did some other buying as well. I'm going to get into the slides as we speak. So here we go. Let's go with the slides, and here we go. Basically, the market is in a confirmed uptrend, which is a great thing because, it was pulling back. It's been a little bit shaky. Now, interestingly enough, most of the love is going into the bigger cap stocks. So you got to be kind of reticent. You got to be kind of that you got to look at very carefully, because most of it is going into the bigger cap stock. So I just wanted to be very clear about that. We are seeing, a nice upward trend, but it is limited to not all the stocks. So not everybody's getting the love. A lot of the big cap stocks are getting the love, and hopefully we're going to be doing some nice spread trades on some of these. But again, if you've been watching for any amount of time, you'll notice that we talked a lot about Tesla the last 2 days, and I think it's coming to fruition. So that is indeed a good thing. By the way, I've added something, and I don't know if this is going to work for everybody, but if you text the word ADD to 844-451-1865, you can get right on our email list. Subscribe today. It is free. So just something that you might want to take a look at. I'm working out the bugs here, so hopefully it'll work and everything today, and you'll be getting those links. You text, and then a few minutes later, I think it's about 10 or 15 minutes later, it actually sends you back the link that you can use to subscribe. So anyways, you might want to be, that might be something that you'd be interested in. Okay, here's stocks that I am buying today, and let's kind of get into it. The first thing that I bought today is a company called Lattice Semiconductor, and currently it's at 78.80.15. Now, why did I buy this? Well, because it is coming off this reversal, and hopefully I'm right about this in the way it's running. But it's a Lattice Semiconductor. It's got a very good checklist. 99 is on the checklist. Let me see if I can change out that banner here so that we can, you can actually see it. There we go. So basically, very nice chart pattern. This is a secondary buy point, not a primary buy point on Lattice Semiconductor, but LSCC is the symbol for this. I did buy it on the reversal. Hopefully, we'll be going higher here. I think we are. I definitely wanted to be in the fabless chip sector. That's the number one sector right now in the economy, in the stock market, is a fabless chip. And this is where, of course, AMD is. This is where NVIDIA is. Now, the reason I didn't take a position in NVIDIA and AMD, not that they're not great stocks, they're wonderful stocks. I was just looking for the right setup, and I think Lattice might be a good setup. It's got a 100% checklist, so it's something that you might want to look at, possibly, to get in. To get in. We also did OAS as well, and thank you very much. This is coming off of the TikTok. Super. Let's kind of look at that one. Okay, this is Oasis Semiconductor, OAS. It's up today very strongly. This one not as a defined buy point on this one. This is a 90 overall relative strength, but again, very, very good. Like to buy the composite rating above 90. This is definitely the case here. Now, it does fall down in some areas, and one of them, of course, is in the EPS rating. I'd like to see that a little higher, but I think this gives a good opportunity. Again, I wanted to get exposure to this oil and gas area. The oil and gas area is doing very well. And I think it will do well this year. Unfortunately, because of inflation, I think it's likely to do very well this year. Currently, this is not a preferred area of the market. There has been movement out of this. It's 119 out of 197, so a little bit low in terms of where the entry point is there. Let me just kind of show you on the chart. We'll go over here. Yeah, here we go. This is OAS. Oasis Petroleum. There we go. Yeah, there we go. You can see it a little bit better that way. And you can see I came in right in here as it bounced sort of off of this 21-day line and 40-day line. So hopefully this is going to work for us. Hopefully this is going to work here, and we will see what happens here. But anyways, I bought one full position, 129.29 was where I bought in. We're up a little bit after hours. We're about even after hours, 131.97. So hopefully this will look good as well. Coming down the pike. So let's go to the next slide here. Just want to show you some option plays out there. And one of the first ones, of course, is on Zoom, and we've all heard of Zoom. Zoom has been sort of in this downward trend, and I want to kind of give you a look-see in terms of how this is bearing out. So I'm going to kind of show you, hopefully I can get this up here. Yeah, there we go. This is the trend of Zoom. As you can see, it was a high flyer. It was up, basically back a year ago in October, October a year ago, a little bit over a year ago, it was at 588. Currently, Zoom is trading at 187. And this very often happens with high-flying stocks that we're doing so well. It's not that Zoom has got any problems, but the air is coming out of the tire a little bit. And hopefully we can take advantage of that with this bear put spread. And of course, if you are on the action trade alerts, I talk a little bit about these as they come up and they come available. Just want to show you some fundamentals on Zoom. Zoom is not wounded, but it is definitely not as high flying as it was. Still has tremendous growth in the in the sales and in the in the profits. The problem with Zoom, the way I see it anyways, is that with Zoom, there's so many other companies that can do the trick. So that's really what's happening. You're getting a lot of competition from, the likes of Google and everybody else that's getting their acts together in the video area. But as you can see, we're starting to make a nice movement in this. We're starting to make a nice movement in this heat chart. Hopefully, we're going to keep this, hold it open a little bit longer, and we will see where it goes from there. So, kind of cool. I want to show you another one on Square. This is another one that we opened up not that long ago. We came into this one. This one is falling as well. I'm going to show you the chart on that. SQ, of course, is the symbol. Now, this one is called Block, but of course, everybody knows it is Square. And you can see the way we're doing pretty good on this one. When I last updated it, the number was 163. It's moved up a little bit after hours to about 163.89, but it's still in downward trend. And as you can see, by the way this is looking, we're looking pretty good on this spread. This is a bear put spread, and what the great thing about the bear put spread is that as the stock goes down in price, it improves your position, so it moves up in value. So this is a kind of a cool way to play it. You don't always have to have the stocks going up. You can have them going down or even sideways, and that's the great thing about the options trades. And we're going to have more on that, of course, hopefully into the next week about option trades that you can make and how you can really leverage your position while protecting your capital. So kind of a cool thing to be. Now, I also have another trade, and that's in Meta. Of course, that is squared. Now, that one isn't doing quite as well. This is the one I had available. I had out on Friday, and this one has moved a little bit against us. We're still looking, possibly like we're going to the green, but we got to watch this one. We may be adjusting this trade, but this is a trade on Meta, and of course, this is available to everybody that's signed up on that signed up on the alerts. And I did send out a text, I think, on New Year's Eve, kind of to give you possibly access to this one as well. So we're going to be keeping up with this one, this trade as well. And this is on Meta or Square. Oh, no, I'm not. Excuse me. It's not Square. Facebook. Excuse me. This one we may have to reverse ourselves because this is picking up some strength, even though it's in a downward trend, as you can see. Let's go over to the chart there. Even though it's in a downward trend, this is the downward trend, we still are getting a little bit of power at 338. I think that we might have to be a little bit careful. We're coming into this red area, so we may have to adjust this trade a little bit as well. One of the great things about spread trading like this is that you can adjust these trades and make them work, even if they're not working for you as well as they normally would. It's great because it like, for instance, when you're betting the horses, I don't know if anybody does that. I certainly like to do that down at Lone Star Park. When you're betting the horses, once that window's down, that's it. You can't change that bet. The great thing with spread trades, especially these trades that I'm showing you, is that you can change your bet as it is moving down the field. So kind of a cool thing. Just wanted to show you a little bit about Tesla. And of course, Tesla's up. When this slide was taken, and it's a little earlier in the day. Let's see if we have a live chart for Tesla. And let me see if I can pull that up. Yeah, there we go. Wow. Okay, so when I took this, it's up $25 from there. So let's take a look at the live chart for Tesla, and look at that. Wow. This is very key because, by the way, I wanted to kind of point this out to everybody. There is a buy point, and it is right here at 1202, and I want to show you that. I'm probably going to be buying more tomorrow, depending on if it can hold this. But as you can see, Tesla has come roaring out of the gate, and there is a buy point. Basically, it's 1201.95 plus 10 cents, or 1202.05. So that's where the buy point is. And really what the buy point is, and if you can see this, if you could look and see this, is that it's right 10 cents above where the local higher high was. You'll notice I've drawn a reversal line there. When I started buying right here on the 28th. I bought a full position at 1085. And then, of course, we moved up, and then we moved down, and then we kind of like cocking a trigger. Boom, we moved up. And what is that saying? Well, if you look at the action here, this is really, really good action because we have a lot of people. Not only is the price going up, but the number of people wanting to buy is going up too. So instead of paying that bid price, we're having to pay the ask price. So for owners here, it's looking pretty darn good, and I really, really like the action on that. So let's see, one or two last things. Okay, this is currently what I have in. This is currently what I'm in right now. Innovation Homes. I've been in that for a while. It's down a little bit today, just 50 cents. But this is the company that rents homes. They have 10,000 homes in the United States, and they provide rents for. This is going to be sort of the thing of the future. Invitation Homes, INVH. This ought to do very well in a heavy inflationary market, and I think we're going to have one. So Invitation Homes, I'm in that one. Of course, I'm in Tesla, and I talked a little bit about that. It's up about almost over 10% today, which is incredible. Then I have Allegro Microsystems. We're down about 18 cents, not a whole lot. Let's look into Allegro. This is an area that I'm wanting to get more exposure to the market. Towards the end of the year, I had very little exposure, and now I'm starting to put the exposure back. And this is one of the areas that I really want to be in. Of course, that is the semiconductor fabless. And this is, not one of the bigger ones, but this was set up, and I bought it on the setup. We're right below the buy point, the 36.85 buy point. 36.22 is where we're at. This one I bought in a little bit high, 37.54 here. It shows you as it punched through that buy point. That's where I did buy. It's retreated a little bit, so hopefully we'll get a nice bounce and we'll see that move higher. 92 relative strength, and I just want to show you the checklist on this one. Very good checklist, 89%. The only thing it is missing is the earnings per share. And the earnings per share is not quite as good as we'd like it, but it's starting to come on strong. Now, if you're looking at a stock, one of the best things always to look at is the fundamentals. And one of the things you can look at when you're looking at the fundamentals is how much the sales have increased. Now, with Allegro, the sales have increased. This is the last 4 quarters. Now, the last 2 quarters have been better than the prior 2 quarters. We have 64% up in terms of profit, 42% up in profit. So that's looking very good. But what's the real star here, of course, is the profitability. Now, you should never, ever buy a stock just based on fundamentals. That's what I'm showing you here. You should buy it on fundamentals. You should look for stocks on fundamentals. You should buy them on a combination of fundamentals and technical action. So one of the things I'm always looking for out, and I'm going to show you on my show, so I'm always looking for that good technical action. And right now, in terms of the pattern recognition, we're 1% below the pivot. They're almost right at the pivot. And in the prior uptrend, it went up 15%. So this is looking very good. This is a consolidation pattern. It's a secondary pattern, but it's still very, very good. So this is one of the ones that I'm in terms of the stocks. Also, we're in Lattice, and we talked a little bit about Lattice. Hopefully, Lattice is going to show us some love. It's not one of the bigger ones, but LSCC is coming off of a reversal, and that is kind of where I've been wanting to buy that. Let's kind of check in a little bit on Lattice's sort of fundamentals here and get an idea kind of why I bought this thing, because that's always a good idea to find out why. This one has had very good growth in sales, as you can see. Typically, if a stock grows more than 20% every quarter, that's when you want to see. If you've got sales that are moving up 20% a quarter, that's what you want to see. So that's a good thing. Also, look at these profits. Very nice. Putting in some very nice profits there as well. So this is the stock that I bought today. LSCC is the symbol. All right. So we need to get into some questions. Thank you, everybody, for being so patient. And we'll get right in here. David, thank you. Thanks, Jim. Oh, yeah. Okay. Right on. Right on. Loving it. Loving it. I think we're going to see some nice, now that we've started this new year, I think we're going to see some nice stuff happening. Some nice stuff happening here. So I'm hoping that this will at least continue on here for a while. So that's a great thing. All right. And Happy New Year. Thank you very much. Thoughts on PFE. This is more of a, Pfizer is obviously a very much of a kind of events-driven stock. I mean, it depends on what's happening with a lot of this stuff. This is one of the reasons why I'm a little bit careful in it, right? And part of the reason I don't own this one right now is because this one is so dependent on the headlines in terms of in terms of where it's going. This one is so dependent on the headlines that I just think that it's a little bit more difficult to trade this one in that the proper buy point on the proper buy point on Pfizer right now is 51.86. We're at 56.76. So we are a little bit extended here above the proper buy zone. Now, one of the things good is that we have a secondary buy point potentially as it bounces off the 21-day line. That's a potential other place that we could get in to this issue. Now, will I? I don't know. I'm still a little bit out the jury, in my opinion, is still a little bit out on Pfizer. It's a great company, but the question is, do I want to, you know, do I want to be in it at this level? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set an alert and on this trend line to see if it breaks above this right now. Currently, Pfizer is in a downtrend, so right now I wouldn't buy it. But if it turns upward, I might be tempted because of there's a lot of stuff good happening with this stock. For instance, it's got a 100% checklist. This is excellent. On the pattern recognition, we're still a little bit below the pivot on a cup formation. We're about 9% below that. But if this thing turns up above this reversal line, then I'm kind of interested in it because that might work. That might work well for us. Kind of look at the technicals here, and this is how far off things are. It's down a little bit today, down on the week. Obviously, it's one day in the week, so that makes sense. Monthly, pretty much even. Obviously, it's the first day of the month. So the question is, how much does it come up year to date? Well, it's saying it came up 60%. Obviously, that's not true because today is the first day of the year. But I'm looking at this and I'm saying, it's a little bit off the 10-day line. So I want to see this thing reverse higher before I'm going to come back into it. So right now, with this is definitely this is definitely something that we could look at. But here's the thing: PFE is a watch list currently, and I'm going to wait for the reversal to possibly do buy. Yeah, see, I want to wait for that reversal here. I want to really kind of wait for a reversal on this in order to buy this, because it just doesn't, it's coming above that, and I still don't think you want to buy it right now. Okay, let's see. Question from Devino79. Thank you very much. Will petroleum stocks continue their upward trend in the first quarter? I think so. I actually do. Well, let's kind of jump over to the area where we could find them, and these are going to be the E&Ps. This is kind of the area that I'm looking. Now they've fallen a tremendous amount in terms of in terms of where they are, but I think let's take a look at the group in general, and that's going to be 119 out of 197. Wow, it's really fallen down. So I'm going to go down to 119, and that's going to give us the area. Yeah, there we go. So oil and gas, the U.S. E&Ps. Let's look at the whole chart as of right now. Now I did buy I did buy Oasis today, OAS, and part of the reason I did was because the group, the E&P group, it broke. Let's get that up there. Yeah, there we go. It broke this reversal line. I didn't really quite have it up there. See, there's the reversal line, and the reason I'm so interested in these reversal lines, of course, is because it's not going to. First, it's not going to let me do it on the whole group, but basically, this is the reversal line here, and as you can see, it's starting to move higher. So, as a group, this is starting to move higher. What are the top stocks? Well, right now, Devon is number one. Dorchester Minerals and Oasis. I bought Oasis because I thought it had a little bit better setup than Devon. But let's look at Devon here as well. Devon is a very good stock. See, I bought a full position back here. I did sell out of this as I made the profit, and I'm waiting to get another opportunity. But if Devon moves above about 45, that's going to be quite good. So I do think that we're in an upward trend overall with this group. So I do think we're going to get another opportunity to make money in the oil and gas again, because it has pulled back, and I think it's getting ready. When you're dealing with the oil and gas, there's about 60 companies here. It's a lot of companies. So I'm trying to find the ones that have the best setups. But right now, the E&P, the oil and gas, is getting ready to possibly move in a good way. And so I think I think that it's something that you could definitely definitely look at. Now in this group, I want to show you the ones that I think are the top ones. DVN, that's Devon Energy, Dorchester, DMLP, and Oasis, OAS. I bought OAS today, but they're all these three are quite good, and they're all performing very, very well. So, not a bad place to be in terms of, in terms of the shares. Not a bad place to be at all right now in these issues. Okay, so what is there to subscribe to? It's basically what the subscription is it is just our email. It's our newsletter kind of thing that we put out. Various market conditions, other kinds of stuff, and so that could be a good thing. Hopefully, it'll work. I'm a little technically challenged sometimes, but I am getting better. So there you go. Unfortunately, I think you're right, Merritt. Houston, oil and gas is hot with Biden in office. It is. I have to admit I didn't vote for Biden. I don't think I ever will. But he's been a friend to oil and gas because he's restricting the supply so much. It's just ridiculous. Gas prices have gone up just tremendously. I think in California they're over $7 in some places. Probably in San Francisco. It's nuts, but you can benefit. So remember, that's the great thing about the stock market is, even if you have boneheads, you can benefit. And I think oil and gas is going to benefit because there's going to be a lot of inflation. I don't wish inflation on anybody. I lived through the Carter years where we had gas rationing. It was stupid. It was the silliest thing you had ever seen. But we've got somebody that's challenged in the office, unfortunately, and it's a bad thing. So hopefully I won't get cut off for saying that. Anyways, let's look at some other stuff. And what will Petroleum? Yeah, I think they will continue their climb. I really think they will. All right. So what's the secret? Let's look at. I think NVIDIA. Oh, Dutch Brothers. Let's look at Dutch Brothers. I love Dutch Brothers. Bros. That's the symbol. BROS. I haven't been to one of these, but I hear that people that have gone, they really, really like them. They're kind of like better than Starbucks. That's what I've heard, anyways. I've never been to one, so I can't say. If you have been to one, please, please join the list so that I can find out more about this. Help me do my research. But Bros, it went way up here. There was a buy point off an IPO base, stage 1 at 62. It went up. It hit a high of 81. This is why it's really difficult to buy a stock as it's coming out of the box. You want to wait a little bit. You want to give it time to season, usually about 3 months, because many IPOs follow this pattern. They come out of the box, they come up, they come down, they come up again, and then they settle. And then as they're settling and making new highs, that's where you want to possibly look to get in them. Right now, I don't think you can do anything with Bros, unfortunately, because I don't think it's reversed yet. So we have to be careful, and I'm going to kind of draw the reversal line. That's what I'm doing here. I'm drawing a reversal line, and this kind of gives you an idea of, is this thing going to move higher? Well, the reason I draw this reversal line is because it's not apparent. If you look here, it looks like, oh, this thing is going up. This is going up, but it isn't really. It's still in a downward trend. It needs to break above that line, and really it needs to break above this 40-day line, and that's this little red line here. I'm going to kind of say exactly where that is. That's at about 56.99 or about 57. So if this thing pulls above about 57, I think you can buy it. But right now with Bros, I think you got to be careful. So right now, Bros, even though I like this company and I'm watching it, it's on my watch list. Right now, Bros, you just can't buy it. It's just not in a, it's just not in the best position. So here's what I would do with this. For bros. Okay. The BRROS watch list for now, and wait until until it moves above 57. That's really the key here. So really, we just got to watch this one for a while. Wait for it. Wait for it to move above 57. That's the key number here. So really, we want to see it move above this 57, because that's going to show us that it has indeed reversed. Let's look at the checklist on it. It's got an excellent checklist for an IPO, 78, and it's still over 15% off of its high. We want to buy it closer to near its all-time high, and that's going to be we're over 15% below that currently. So that is where we got it. Has to show a little bit more strength on the pattern recognition. We are down 15% from the IPO base. That's the first pivot in 63 days. So we kind of need to see it come up to about here. See, 61.97 would be ideal. I think you can start coming in at about 40. That's where you can start coming in. But I do like bros a lot, and it's on my watch list. And I think that's something that you could definitely, you could definitely be in. So great thing going on there. All right, so let's go back to the questions. Thank you so much. Let's see. Oh, great. This is Samuel. Has question is, do you think IWM is breaking out? Now, IWM, of course, is the small cap Russell 2000 ETF, and it's a good indicator of sort of where the market is going. And the question is really, do we have a potential breakout there? Well, one of the things that it isn't really a breakout, but it is moving above that 50-day line. So I'm liking this a whole lot more. I don't like to buy anything if it's below that black line, that 50-day line. Now, it had been in this downward trend. It did reverse, and it reversed higher. So this is looking good. This is a reversal, and it's in a consolidation, essentially. That's its pattern for it's going from the floor is about 208 on up here to 244. That's where it is in terms of the consolidation. So the question is, has it bounced at the bottom of the consolidation, and is it moving up, and is it strong enough to where you can buy it? I think you can buy it right now. I wouldn't buy a lot of it. I'd only buy a half position here, only because it is still right at the 250-day line. I don't like to buy right at the 50-day line, but if you're buying an index and the index is improving, that's not a bad place to buy it. If this was a regular stock, I probably wouldn't buy this here, because it's an index, and because it's trending up, and because it has reversed, that's something I would consider buying. So the ETFs can be a great way to play the market, because you don't have to decide. You can essentially buy a sector, and if the sector is doing well, you can do well along with it. It's sometimes extremely hard to get the right to get the right mix. So picking stocks individually can be more difficult a lot of times than buying indexes. Indexes can be a great way to do extremely well. So I definitely think you can buy this one right now, and I think you're right in there. Hey, football legends, love it. Hi Jim, happy New Year. Sold my $80,000 crypto position. Interesting. Should I invest in the stock market or put it on down payment on real property? Here's what I would do, and here's what I did, by the way. You know what, football? I think you should you should take half of it. I always like to do it like this. Take half your money and put it, and put it into, something like the QQQ. Okay, that's going to give you exposure to the stock market. It's going to be easy to handle. As long as the techs are moving up, doesn't matter which techs, you're going to benefit like that. Now, is $40,000 enough to buy a rental property? Well, I just bought 3 rental properties, believe it or not, all basically between Christmas and New Year's. We bought 3 properties down in Conroe, Texas. Most of these are new homes, and my brother and I. And but we were paying all cash, and the reason we were paying all cash, of course, is because we wanted to not have a would not have the capital gains tax. So here's what I would do. I wish I had talked to you earlier, because I want to talk to you about the crypto position. You should trade crypto. I believe you should trade crypto in an IRA. And the reason that you should do it, and I have a way, I'm going to be showing everybody how I'm trading crypto in an IRA. I haven't set it all up yet. This is coming. But one of the great things about trading crypto in an IRA, and you can do this through IB, International Brokers. There's a few other companies that you can do it through. The advantage of it is you're not subject, at least until you remove the cash, you're not subject to the capital gains. By eliminating your crypto position, unfortunately, you're going to have a lot of capital gains. But at least, it's going to be, you're going to take a big hit on this. You're going to take at least a 15% hit on your position. So if you cashed out at 80,000, you're probably looking at a tax bill of about, I would say, about $15,000 to $20,000. And I want to kind of show you. I'm not a tax expert, but I want to kind of show you for the next time around, possibly a way that you can avoid that. But you're going to have a capital gains situation, and maybe I can show things that I might that might be of interest to you on that. So, congratulations on your crypto. On your crypto, you definitely have some capital that you can start investing as well. So I definitely think there's going to be some great opportunities in crypto, but you got to protect it so that you're not paying all of that capital gains at once. Let's look at TSMC. And of course, that is symbol TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing. And the interesting thing about this stock, and it did move very nicely today, gapped up, is that we had a situation where it moved above its intermediate buy point, its intermediate high, 128.09, and it's at 129. Looking very strong. This is a very strong company. This company produces about 50% of the world's complex chips in their factories, and they're all over the world. I do have issue with this company, not because of the company. It's wonderfully run, and it's very, 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 very long, but it's vulnerable, unfortunately, to political tensions, in that they have a lot of the production in Taiwan. And so we know there's been some problems related to that. So don't want to go into that anymore. But one of the stocks that I think you ought to look at is Global Foundries. Now, this is an IPO, but it's essentially been out there for a while, and I think it's really moving nicely. So that's with TSM. I think it's still good. I probably would not be a buyer here, but I like Global Foundries. I think I should have written this down. I have GSM. I think it is. Is that right? Let me quickly get the symbol for it. It's funny. I should remember this one, because I've been talking about this, and I should just have it on the tip of my tongue, but I don't. So let's see if I can get. Let's see if I can get a new. GSM. So let's see if I can get Global Foundries symbol. GFS. Why can't I remember that? I should absolutely be able to remember that. But GFS is the symbol for Global Foundries, and this basically was the foundry of AMD, believe it or not. And they sold it to a venture capital group, and they've been running it for a while. Excellent fundamentals on this one. I definitely think this is something. If you're looking at TSM, I think that this one may provide you with a better profitability potential. Now, here's the thing: it is an IPO. It is an IPO, but this is a long existing company, an excellent checklist. This isn't like a startup. This actually has profits, as you can see. Their sales are moving very nicely. These are the sales. Let me click that off so you can actually see what I'm talking about. Let's go back to the banners. So basically, on the fundamental analysis, you see this is starting to become a good candidate here because we're starting to see profitability. We hadn't had profitability until last quarter. The next quarter that they're going to announce on is, we don't know. It's probably going to be within about a month or so. We're going to see this one come out. I think this is likely to do very well. They've got a full order book, and they are state of the art company. So Global Foundries, you might want to look at this one. I haven't entered this one yet, just because it is an IPO, and I haven't done everything, the total due diligence on this one yet. But I really, really like this one. If you're looking at TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, you want to possibly take a look at GFS, because that one might be a very, very good opportunity in this chip fab space. So very, very good, Alan. Very good. My thoughts on BBW. This is Build-A-Bear Warehouse, and I've recommended this one in the past, actually, and I have owned this one. It's looking pretty decent. Look at that. Look at that. Thank you, Marla. Thank you very much for bringing this one up. We definitely have a buy point at 1978. Currently, it's at 20. Can we buy this thing? Well, it's got a nice relative strength. Look at that, 99 relative strength on there. We're just right in the pivot, right above the pivot. So yeah, I think this is buyable. I really do. I think this is buyable. Let's look at the technicals on it. Yeah, it's up quite a lot today. Let's see if it'll settle. But look at this, year to date. And this is incredible. Year to date, of course, this has come up tremendously. Well, it's the first day of the year, so we have to wait a little bit on that. That's done. We're a little bit extended. I wouldn't buy it at this level, only because we're 13% above that 10-day line. That's this little pink line here. Let it pull back a little bit, or let it move above 21, and then I think it might be buyable. So I definitely think this one is watch listable. Would I buy it right at this moment? I kind of wait for a little bit of change on the action, but I like the stock, and it's looking very, very good. And looking at the fundamentals, and that's what this is here, the sales are just doing great, and the profits are doing great too. So, this is a profitable little company. I mean, it's a little thin in terms of its ownership, but I like this, and I think this definitely could go higher. Relative strength to 99. So I would wait for a little bit of a pullback, maybe to the pivot. The pivot is 1978. It's currently 27.7, so it's right at the pivot. So you could definitely buy this one. Definitely buy this one right now. I would probably buy, possibly a half position. So it's looking very, very good. Thank you very much for that, Marl. That's a very good stock. All right, MU. Now, MU, we had some people that were in the Discord room that did great on the stock, but they round tripped it, and I hate it when that happens. The way you can avoid round tripping your profits is that you keep pushing your stop loss up, and then eventually it'll pull back, and you'll say at the time, "Gosh, I got stopped out," but then when it goes down, you're looking good. So, what's the deal with Micron? Well, Micron. The interesting thing about this computer data storage area is that there's two companies right now in this area that are doing great. One of them, of course, is MU, that's Micron, and the other one is Seagate Technologies, which seems to be setting up very nicely as well. I like this one, of course, a lot. The buy point on it was 89.05 right here. That's 95, so it's a little extended above that buy point, but it's looking very, very good. And I think that this will be a good year for Micron. Micron's very cyclical, as memory is typically very cyclical, but this is one of their periods of time when they're going to be selling basically everything they can produce. Whenever that happens, that's a good thing. So we're looking very good fundamentally here on these sales. The sales are moving up very nicely. Anytime, again, and I keep talking about, I keep talking about this all the time. Let's see if I can, let's see if I can show you this. Anytime you have your sales going up 20% a quarter, that's very good fundamentally. Also, look at this. It doesn't take a lot in terms of increase in sales to jump their profit numbers right up there, because pretty much every dollar that they make is incrementally worth a lot of money. Now, here's the interesting thing. Look at this cash flow. This is this is a $100 stock, but yet look at their cash flow, $11.79 a share. That's a 10% return. That's amazing. That's an absolutely amazing. So we have a very strong look at this. This PE ratio is incredibly low, especially for a semiconductor company. It's just incredible. We have a lot of funds that are accumulated. This is A plus, meaning that many of the biggest funds are accumulated. Let's kind of take a look. I want to see what funds are in this one. We definitely have a lot of funds in there, and I just kind of want to look at the fund ownership to see. It's pretty. I think it's pretty impressive with Micron. If you notice, almost all of these are either, most of these are A plus funds. Now there's some in here that aren't. There's a B fund, but boy, these are really good funds that are in this. Lord Abbott, Fidelity. We've got a lot of really good ownership in Micron. So Micron is looking very good. Now the question is, can we still enter this? The thing is always, it's not just buying the right stock, it's buying the right stock at the right pivot. And that's hard. So I think we're going to have to wait a little bit. I think it may pull back a little bit. If it does pull back to this 10-day line here, that might be an opportunity. So let's kind of take a look to see if I can show you the price above that 10-day line. It's it's actually very close to the 10 line, 3.6% above the 10-day line. I would wait for it to pull back to the 10-day line, and then that's a possible secondary buy point right there. So you definitely could buy this. It's above that 200-day line, which I'm liking. It's got this cup with handle. It's in the buy. It's just right above the buy zone, not that much. So if this thing pulls back a little bit, just a little bit, then I think we're in a situation where, we could really have a very nice, very nice entry into MU. And MU is definitely a top-rated stock. So very, very good on that point. Let's take a question from TikTok. Thank you so much for. Can you please take a look at NVIDIA? Let's look at NVIDIA. And I'm currently out of NVIDIA. I'd love to get back into NVIDIA because this is one of my favorite stocks. Here's the thing. I did draw this reversal line. As you can see, it's moved right above the reversal line. So it's getting ready to where we could possibly, buy this as this reversal line starts here at 346, moving down essentially to the 40-day line. And it has turned up a little bit. So this is looking good. Is this a place you could buy this? Well, this is not a bad place to buy it. 300 seems to be, even though it isn't showing exactly on these charts, 300 seems to be an area where it has support. So that's looking good. The volume looks very good. We had declining volume in terms of selling, and then we ran out of sellers. So then the bid had to come in, and that's where it's looking right now. So this is not a classic buy point, but this is a reversal, and it's well worth considering this as a potential entry point because we're above that 40-day line. So I really like this stock right now. I like where it's at. I like the fact that it's got excellent fundamentals. If you look at this, and I'm showing you the fundamentals here. These are the sales, and they've gone up every quarter over 20%, so that's looking really good. And of course, the profits are up too. So I would have to put NVIDIA on the watch list as one that we want to start possibly moving into. Very nice stock and very good place to buy it, and definitely one of the top stocks out there. Definitely one of the top stocks out there. This is the kind of stuff you want to be buying, putting in your portfolio. All right. Jim, how's it going? Is it worth diversifying on Tesla? Well, I would say you want to keep a lot in Tesla right now. I think Tesla, I'm not saying it's unique because there's been other stocks like this in history, but Tesla is one of those stocks that I think you really want to be in. I want to have some exposure to it, at least a quarter. I'm going to be exposing about quarter to a third of my portfolio just in this one stock because I think it's so significant. Now, it just depends on how you want to do it. What you could do to kind of limit your exposure so that you have a little bit more diversity is to buy ARKVest, ARKK. And that is, of course, that's Kathy Woods' ETF. And that has a lot of, and that one might be a better opportunity. That one has a lot of exposure to Tesla. And the only thing is, this is trading below the 50-day line. Now, it's not as important with a ARKVest. It's not as important with a stock with an ETF, but it is still trading below that 50-day line. Don't like that. I want to see this thing reverse higher. It's only got a 19 relative strength, so this might be an alternative. But I would actually prefer, if I'm looking at doing this, I would prefer to be in. I think I would prefer to be in the actual stock itself. So I would try to lean a little bit more on NVIDIA. Yeah. And we talked a little bit, Harris. Thank you very much for Global Foundries. This is a stock that I'm very interested in. I don't have a position in it yet. I'm waiting to get a position, even though it's an IPO. This is a potentially great stock because of the success of Taiwan Semi. Taiwan Semi can't take up all the slack. This is something that might work really, really well. So I like that very, very much. All right. Hey, is Palantir movement this? I don't think you want to be in Palantir right now. Unfortunately, I wish I could say it differently. Moderna, mRNA, of course, is the symbol for Moderna, mRNA. Let's take a look. And it is currently, and this is what it's tough to trade the biotechs because they are very, very susceptible to the news. And right now, even though deliveries have built up, this is trading below that 200-day line. So I would avoid this one. I just would avoid it for now, just because I think it's below the 200-day line. So mRNA I would avoid. For now. Watch list instead. So that's kind of what I would do on this one. I definitely would watch this one. This is in a downward trend, and I think that you got to be careful on this one because this is so political. I mean, if there's another COVID vaccination, they could do well, but it's trading below the 200-day line. So I think you just got to be super careful on this one. I would avoid it just for now, just based on those political considerations. I don't think it's going to do. It's going to be a little bit more volatile. I think you want to eliminate that as much as you possibly can. Tesla is right. Well, I mean, Jay, there's nothing wrong with AT&T. AT&T, well, yes, there is. There's a lot wrong with AT&T. AT&T is, it's a corporation that was created by J.P. Morgan, over 100 years ago. And at that time it was state of the art. Unfortunately, they're going to get their lunch eaten, and they're sort of a big declining mess. So I think you got to go with the future. I think Tesla is sort of the future right now. There's several other stocks that are the future too, but I think Tesla is really the future. And it's hard to buy. It's very volatile. It's got its ups and downs, but I think if you buy Tesla now and when you wait even 2 years, you're going to be rewarded just so majorly that it could be life changing for you. I mean, I've done very, very well with Tesla. I've bought it several times. I'm out of. I'm just starting to move back in. This is my fourth sort of iteration on dealing with Tesla. I think Tesla is absolutely, rocket ship on rails, and it's just one of those great stocks. So I think you ought to have it for the long run. Is this the year of Amazon will start to run? Who knows? Good question. It definitely, we have been, the stocks that have been holding up the best have been the mega caps. I mean, it's the Apples and the of the world, and Amazon has not been taking as much advantage of that as some of the other stocks, but this might be the year. Right now, it's at the 200-day line, so don't ever really like to buy anything as it's at the 200-day line. Now I have a reversal line on here. If it starts to move that, then I might start considering it. It's in the cup with handle formation. The buy point 37.62. Now here's probably the way I would play Amazon. I probably will not buy the underlying stock, the underlying shares. I'm probably going to create a spread. I do believe that long term, I think we can see it here. Long term, it's sort of flat. Okay, kind of look at that long term, sort of flat. So in a situation like this with a stock that is flat, we need to look at an iron condor as possibly the correct way to do it. Why an iron condor? Well, the reason the iron condors can be very good in a situation like this is because if a stock kind of goes sideways, then it tends to be a very good strategy. And that's sort of what we're seeing here with Amazon. It's kind of gone sideways. It really kind of it really hasn't made a lot of forward progress in a year. So it's really kind of been in this range bound area. So that might be a good situation for something like an iron condor. Now I do believe Amazon's going to continue to grow. They have excellent fundamentals, and more and more people are going to continue to order from them. But it may be a little bit slow. It may be a little bit slow. All right, thank you. A-line is a shit show. ALAT. Let's look at ALAT. ALAT. Let's take a look. This is always why you want to have ALAT. AT. I'm sorry. Is that right? Yeah. ATAT. All right. Let's look at that. Well, I'm not getting anything. Sorry to say. So I have to move on, unfortunately. Moderna. We talked about a little bit about Moderna. Thank you very much for that. STNE. Let's look at that. STNE. Let's look at that. StoneCo. StoneCo is looking stone cold bad. Unfortunately, Harris, I hate to tell you that. It's not looking good. This is sort of a shorting pattern, as you can see. Not totally, but this looks like the head here. I'm just going to kind of put that on there. This looks like the head that we've got here, and this looks like a right shoulder. This is a left shoulder, and that typically is kind of how it happens. Now the problem is this is not a good short. The reason it isn't is because it's already so low, and it's also an ADR. So I would just kind of avoid this one. I know that Brazil is a great market, but I don't think it's going to work as well, unfortunately. Thank you, Kate. Thank you very, very much for Happy New Year to you, and hopefully your family had a wonderful wonderful New Year. We're going to have a great year this year, so stay tuned. A lot of good things are happening. Thank you very much for that. All right, let's look at ROKU. ROKU. And let's look at ROKU. See, ROKU is still in this downward trend. I would like to do something with ROKU to make money on it. I love ROKU. I actually was watching, stuff over the holidays with my little ROKU. So I really like ROKU, have for years. But here's the thing that I don't like about ROKU in terms of the stock price. It's below that 200-day line. Just don't like that. If you're down more than 7% on this one, by the way, just consider, just consider selling. So if you're down more than 7%, please consider selling. It's just prudent because This one could go down a lot more. I do have a reversal on line. It has not reversed higher. It's up about 0.2%, but the trend on Roku is still downward, unfortunately. And I want to see it get some support and then start to move higher. But I don't like this. I don't like this the way this is moving right now. We have, a very good checklist, 67. It actually could be better. The industry, good. The problem is that IPO rank is not good. So I just think you just can't really do anything here right now. If this market were in a downward trend, I would probably be looking to short this, actually, if you can believe that. But I don't think I want to short. I don't think I want to short. I don't think I want to short it right now. It's a little bit too dangerous. I would not do that for myself. Okay, Snow. This is Jordan. Sorry, I just had to come back. Could you look at Moderna? I did take a look at Moderna. I had GM at 65 calls. Took a 50%. Nice. Where do you see me? Let's take a look. Let's take a look at GM. I think GM long term has some problems, to be honest. I really do. But at least in the short term, it's at the bottom of a consolidation and moving higher. So this is trending well. It is trending well. I would only trade this thing short term. I would not invest in. I would not invest in GM. I would not invest in GM. I think that they're going to be once it becomes apparent that Tesla is going to sell a lot more EVs than they are. It's going to be very, very hard for them. But right now, in the short term, I think you could make a little bit of money as this thing bounces off this 53.14 and then up to the 65 consolidation. And it is definitely moving up. So not a bad thing. I would be very careful. I would not trade this thing through earnings. Earnings are in 30 days. Be very careful with GM. I think long-term GM is going to be a loser. Unfortunately, I mean it's I think long term it's likely to be a loser. So I think you got to be extremely careful with that. Well, we've come to the end of an hour, and I thank you so much, everybody, for taking a look. If you want to get on that action trader alerts, just text add to 844-451-1865, and hopefully I've got all these things working, and it'll work, and it will give you a link back in about 10 minutes or so after you do that, and then you can get on the action trade alerts. So until tomorrow at 3:45. Thanks, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well, and I think we're going to have a great year this year. It's going to be a little bit more tough. It's going to be a very volatile year, I think, but there's always some opportunities in volatility. We're going to be doing probably a lot of iron condors and that kind of thing to take advantage of the volatility that I think we're going to see in the market. But hopefully you'll be with us through the year, and until tomorrow, anyways, at 3:45. Thanks, everybody. Happy trading.